hours a day do you think you're on social media?
Like 22 out of 24.
And
15-ish.
Like 2.
Do you have Snapchat?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, but I don't really use it.
Yes.
How many snaps do you think you send a day?
A lot. Like 50-ish.
What was your longest snap streak?
295. Like 300. 432.
So what if I told you the longest snap streak that somebody told me from this in your class was 800?
That's ridiculous.
How big of a role is social media in your life?
Kind of. It's kind of it.
If all the pictures that you've ever snapped or taken were put in a binder and given to your mom and dad, how would you feel?
I have some explaining to do.
Wouldn't be too bad.
Okay? Have you ever taken a snap, sent it, and regretted it?
Yes.
Or have you ever snapped and regretted it?
Not really.
Okay. How many followers do you have on Snapchat?
Like 100.
Okay.
At least 200?
Do you have Instagram?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a Finsta?
No.
Do you have a Finsta?
No.
Okay. How many followers do you have on Instagram? Approximately, do you know?
Probably around 120.
Okay. How many real, true friends do you think you have?
About 10. 4.
If you had to get rid of all social media right now, gone, how big of a hole would that leave in your life?
A big one.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 2017 Cybersecurity event, as I like to call it, because I don't really feel like this is a presentation. It's much more of a discussion. Because for once, seniors, juniors, sophomores, and even freshmen, you have a handle on some of that verbiage that your teachers and your parents don't have. Some of your teachers and friends and parents don't know what a streak is. But before we get to that, I have a couple of people to thank. Number one, I want to thank Mr. Pani for allowing me to give this presentation. This was not the original intent for this event. But in circumstances being as they are, I'm what you have. And I really appreciate the opportunity to do this. I also really appreciate the administration for allowing me to talk about such a controversial, hot-button topic as social media in the field of education. Most of your interactions with me have been through technology. Some of you have taken a class with me, some of you I've advised, written letters for. So I want you to understand that this presentation is not about condemning social media. It's not about harping on the fact that these are inherently dangerous things to have. What this discussion is, it is to shed different lights on social media and how to make social media work for you and not have you work for it. But before we begin, we have to have a general idea of what social media means. There are various different definitions. Social media, as defined, is a computer-mediated technology or technologies that facilitate the creation and sharing of information, ideas, career interests, and other forms of expression via virtual communities and networks. But that's just the textbook definition. Social media, for all of you, is much more than this. And it's hard for the older generations to understand that this is your language. This is the way in which you communicate. This is the way in which you build friendships. Social media is redefining the way in which friendships operate. People connect electronically via stories, posts, likes, DMs, etc. Now, for those of you who do not know what a story is, there's this small little app, hardly anybody uses it, called Snapchat. Another small little app called Instagram. And what these programs, and various other programs as well, the like, they allow you to post pictures and videos throughout your day to add to your story. So that way people who follow you can see what you're doing. So inherently, the idea is not bad. Okay, it's not bad. Posts, likes, DMs. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But again, going through this, I want to explain the verbiage to those who may not understand what I'm talking about. You heard me talk about a Finsta account. I'm not going to call anybody out. I'm just going to tell you that, for those of you who do not know, a Finsta account is a fake Instagram account. It's very real, but it's a misleading title because it's still the person, but they post things that they may not want public or people to see. Okay, so now that you know some of the verbiage, let's continue. According to social media stats, now I don't follow any of you, I don't allow you to be friends with me, because that's my business, right? But according to social media stats, many of you are extremely popular. Look at this. This is impressive. 807 friends, 100 followers on Snapchat, and 211 followers on Instagram. It's pretty impressive. I worked hard for these numbers, you understand? These are my stats. I worked hard for these numbers. Now, of course, this is very comical, right? Because you have to understand that, let's be real, these connections are mainly digital, okay? They're top-heavy with interactions that are few and far between or even non-existent. How many of you have connections on social media for people that you've never met in real life? Celebrities, friends of friends, extended relatives, right? Okay, so apps like Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter are making it not only possible, but encouraged to have interactions with other people. And the reason why this is important and not necessarily an inherent danger is because we want to pride ourselves as being a global society. Never before in human history were we able to connect with someone in Tokyo right now if we wanted to. We're living in an age where we can be connected at all times, anywhere. So why do we have these accounts? Why do we inherently have this draw to these accounts? What about it makes it so interesting? Do we actually crave it? I sent out a form to the senior class. Now, I'm not going to call anybody out individually. I'm just going to show you the group stats. I did a poll on social media usage at TCHS for you seniors. Thank you to those who participated. I sincerely appreciate it. So let's just check a couple things out. This is just seniors. Let's try another. So these are mildly popular apps, right? Okay. So, great. Besides the fact that Snapchat and Instagram are popular, what drives us to use these apps? Is it only because it's popular right now? Attention engineers. These people are the masterminds behind social media. Attention engineers are people who are hired to do field work in casinos and other places to figure out what attracts people to a game, because social media in its most rare form is entertainment. So it only makes sense that there are engineers to get your attention. What is that doing to you? Is social media addiction your fault? Is it something that you should be talking about? Is it something that you can control? Probably not. In fact, most likely not. The adolescent brain development pattern has shown you reach maturity in the frontal lobe by age 25. That's why everyone tells you to abstain from drugs and alcohol, because it affects the frontal lobe development of your brain. The frontal lobe of your brain controls impulses. So if you have an underdeveloped mind, and you have something that is fun and relies on impulsivity, It's a perfect storm, right? You don't wake up in the morning and say, well, I don't have all my faculties about me. I'm missing part of my brain, but hey, let's do it anyway. You don't feel like you're not yourself. You feel like who you are. But who you are now is not who you're going to be in 10 years. That's why this is about building your digital future self, not your current digital self. You see, you have to plan for the future because the only person that's in control of where you're going is you. So, the definition of addiction. Compulsive need for and use of a habit-forming substance characterized by tolerance and by well-defined physiological symptoms upon withdrawal. Informally, I've been asking students what would happen if you lost all your social media accounts. Oh, I can last for 2 weeks. Oh, I can do it for a month. And then I say, delete the accounts. And no, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. Why? It's a combination of many factors. Social pressure, peer pressure, brain development, and impulsivity. So, let's check the numbers. Let's let the numbers prove that this is something more than just a fun activity that you do. What's a streak? I want you to tell me what's a streak. Go ahead, Miss Mason, what's a streak? Go ahead.
So, basically, what you have to do, you have to send a snack to somebody every day, and if you don't send it every day, you lose your streak. It's basically just snapping somebody every day.
Right, so it is a consecutive number of days where you have sent and received the snap. Now, aside from the social pressure of that, Snapchat has built in a really unique feature that if you're starting to get towards the end of your day and you haven't sent that, the little hourglass, better hurry up, send that snap. Give me more money, right? So, this is alarming. This is alarming. Sending a snap just to keep a streak. This is quite alarming. In fact, in looking at some of these numbers, and unfortunately it didn't publish the one that's right here, which is 885. That is a snap every day for 885 days. Christmas, New Year, your grandmother's birthday, your birthday, whatever. Think about that. Every day. 7 days a week, 365. How many hours do you spend on social media? I'm guilty of this too. I'm not talking at you, I'm talking with you. How many of you that are not seniors identify with this model? Raise your hand if you think you spend more than 2 hours a day on social media. That includes YouTube? Yeah. Yep, that's what I thought. Yeah. Right. So, I sent around a questionnaire. Do you know why these apps are free? Why were they invented? And some of you do, some of you don't. So, we're using social media like this. Snapchat is a very interesting app. In fact, it's based on a number of different circumstances that you may or may not be aware of. So let's dive into the actual facts. Snapchat is a billion, that's with a B, not an M, it's $1 billion company that originated as Pickaboo. Most of you have never heard of Pickaboo. Didn't last very long. Some of you did? Awesome. It's a peer-to-peer photo sharing app. That's what its original intent was. Send a picture, get a picture. A company formed by Stanford male college students who didn't graduate, by the way. An app that boasts a reported 166 million active daily users. Impressive. 68 million are all of us in the United States, just letting you know. An app built on the premise of self-deleting photos and videos, an app that encourages constant contact via Snap Stories and Streaks, and an app marketed to young women. These are facts, not opinions. These are facts, not opinions. These were facts from the creators of Snapchat. Snapchat's built on the premise that the photos and videos sent, they are self-deleting. They're deleted forever. Right? No, it's like you knew what I was going to say. Snapchat operates and capitalizes on perceived anonymity. Perceived anonymity is the belief that you think you are invisible, that when you are ghosted, you can't be found. It's perceived, it's not actual anonymity, because every single device that you have has a digital signature unique to it, and that's tied to you. So how do the pictures get from one phone to the other? Let's take a nice little walk down the diagram. Here we go. Here I am, I'm going to snap. Boom. Snap. I'd say I'm a Verizon user, so it goes to the Verizon servers. Those Verizon servers push that snap through to the Snapchat servers. Those Snapchat servers force it out to maybe somebody who has AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, I don't know, whatever, and then it goes up to the other person's phone. Are you going to tell him?
No.
Is Verizon going to do it? Snapchat going to do it? AT&T going to do it? No. It's perceived anonymity. Also, a thing called metadata. Most of you don't know what metadata is. It's on your phone right now, and on your iPad, and everywhere, computer. Set of data that describes and gets information about other data. So, how does it apply to Snapchat? According to an article published in 2013, two experts, Andrea London and Kyle O'Meara, from the forensics firm at Strauss Friedberg, analyzed phones and devices for content. They do this in search of digital evidence for law enforcement agencies, government agencies, and investigators. Remember, everything that you take a picture of, somebody knows where it is and what it was. They have to. So, this is what they found about an iPhone. Found that Snapchat creates a file called a user plist that you cannot delete, which contains all of the metadata on images received and sent. The data includes the time the photos were sent and received, as well as the identity of the sender and receiver. But I have Android. That's cool. Two Samsung Galaxy S series phones, they found an XML file containing the same information. XML is easier to access than a user.plist. Anyway. So, they did not try to pry for memory analysis for image sourcing. They didn't need it. They didn't need it. They had the origin, the time, the location, the date, and the two people that were interacting. That's all they needed. So, in short, Snapchat and the servers that store the data from this app already know who you are, when you snap, who you snap, and have the potential to retrieve your deleted snap anytime that they want to. Well, that's unfair. It's my stuff. They don't need your permission. You gave it to them already. This is the terms and agreements that you signed when you signed up for Snapchat. Snapchat has the non-exclusive, worldwide, royalty-free, sub-licensable, and transferable license to use, reproduce, modify, adapt, publish, create derivative works from, distribute, perform, and display such user content in connection with these services, subject to your use of privacy settings in the services to control who can see your user content. In short, they can do whatever they want with your information. And just remember, you are the product and you are the consumer. Two people created an app that made you the product and your friends the consumer. And vice versa. Every day, this billion-dollar company gets richer to keep your snap streaks going. Right? You are filling their pockets. They are currently worth somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, I think it's like 30 or 40 billion dollars. They're going to jump up to 125 billion in the spring when their IPO goes public and people can buy stock in it. So, that was a little heavy. Let's lighten it up a little bit. How can we make social media work for us instead of against us, and us working for it? Build yourself as a brand. What does that mean? Market yourself as somebody who should be or want to be followed. Not for disingenuous reasons, for actual reasons. Use this power that you have for good. Make social media work for you. These platforms are the 4 highest earning social media platforms in the current market today. These 4 apps control the lion's share of all social interactions on this planet. If done properly, anyone can create content and build a following using social media. How many of you out there follow brands, follow celebrities, follow food on social media? Of course. I've never been so creeped out than being at a restaurant and seeing a woman stop her husband from eating so she could take a picture. I mean, listen, I like lobster too, but I just don't get it. Maybe it's not for me. Right? What's the best part about social media? For you. What's the best part for you? You gotta know you use it. It's not the social